Yo guys, welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most useless perks in COD history. So when I say useless here, I mean more so something that has a very niche use, or there's far better options. And so there isn't really a good reason to use it. If you enjoy, please like and subscribe, and yeah, let's get to it. So first, we have Eavesdrop from COD 4. Now, one thing you'll notice pretty quickly is that most of these perks are from the older COD games because it seems like they literally wanted one perk for literally everything, no matter how useless or niche the actual usage was. This certainly applies to Eavesdrop, a perk that allowed you to hear the other team's voice chat. Now, I can kind of see why this would be useful, especially in like a competitive mode maybe. But most of the time, people don't talk tactics on COD voice chat, to say the least. So it's just kind of like a waste of time, really. That's really all I have to say about that. The next one more so can be filtered under the whole not bad, but there are perks that are better in the same class, which is Iron Lungs. So Iron Lungs was from COD 4 and World at War. So what this did is it increased your soldiers' ability to hold their breath while aimed down sighting with a sniper. Now, I can understand why Infinity Ward added this, because, you would think that this would be pretty useful. It allows you to stay stabilized for longer. However, the problem is that obviously the trick shotgun community started emerging around COD 4, although it did sort of start earlier, but this is the sort of start of the rise, I guess you could say. And Infinity Ward evidently couldn't have accounted for that. So I guess this is a kind of a case of Infinity Ward making a prediction which you'd think would sound alright, but in the end ended up not working out. Next, the gas mask from World at War. So what this did is it made you immune to tabbing gas. Now, what is tabbing gas, you might ask? Well, it's actually just a fart can, or basically one. This wasn't exactly common to come across either, and not only that, there's also far better options in the red perk category. I'm also going to mention Shades as a bit of a 2-in-1, because what this did is it reduced the flare's brightness, which is at least a little bit more useful because flares are a lot more common. But some of the same criticisms apply, although, a little fun fact, if you actually, you could actually see that if you killed someone with Shades, their avatar would actually have sunglasses on, which is pretty interesting. Next, Scrambler from MW2. So what this did is it allowed you to scramble the minimap of nearby enemies. Like Iron Lungs, though, it is a perk that I can see the logic of, but in practice it doesn't really work. You might have already clocked on to the reason why. So, if you're the other player here, and you see your minimap go a bit scrambled, you would know an enemy was nearby, hence sort of defeating the purpose. Now, I would say that Scrambler is better off as an equipment piece, as it is in other COD games, because it's far more useful. Although, what I will say is that the pro version of this perk is actually pretty useful with the whole delayed claymore detonation, but I would personally prefer other perks. And finally for this video, awareness from BO2. So what did this do? It made enemy players' footsteps louder. Now, I can see the purpose of this. But this can also be achieved by either wearing a headset or just turning up the volume on your TV. If this countered dead silence, this could have actually been very useful. But of course it doesn't do that, because you can't have nice things. So, yeah. Past this point, perks were either A, made useful, or B, combined in some way. I could have talked about a lot of stuff from COD World War II, although because you're only normally allowed one perk, or basic training as it's called in that game, I think it's a bit harsh to judge them in a lot of ways, although there are some pretty bad ones. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment down below any other useless perks that you've witnessed in COD history. And yeah, bye.